So today we're going to be covering the correct installation of our KEMGROUT Flexible. I'm going to show you how to get the best results out of this product, and at the end of the video I'm going to run through some common mistakes people make. So the most important thing with mixing grout is your water content. Dry bond construction chemicals recommend no more than 280 ml of water per kilo of powder. Product must be slow mixed, let to sit for several minutes, and then remixed. Okay, so once we've let the mix sit for several minutes, we should end up with a nice toothpaste-like consistency, as you can see on my float. If you're planning on doing a large job, try not to mix big batches. You cannot remix this product. So it's most important to work in smaller batches, because once the product dries up, you cannot remix it or add water. For joins less than 2 millimeters, we recommend adding a portion of prime bond grout additive. As described in our tech sheet, this will help fortify the grout and also help get it into the smaller joins. Okay, so now our mix has been done correctly, I'm going to show you a recommended way to install the grout into the joins. So taking an ample amount of grout, we're going to fill the joins diagonally across the tiles. As you can see with the correct water content, it's quite a stiffer mix. Once all joins have been filled, to install this grout properly, we need to make sure that it's forced down right through as far down into the tile as possible. This can be achieved with either your grout float or a tool like this to point the grout down towards the adhesive bed, maximising the amount of grout we have in each join. Through doing this, we are getting a higher quantity of grout between each tile to minimise the chance of discoloration. Then we simply reapply our grout. We now know that the joints are packed down as deeply as possible, removing as much excess as possible as well off the face of the tile. We're now ready to clean the tiles off. I'm going to be using typical water boy type sponge. If you're not too confident with this system, it is very easy to leave too much water in this sponge. A lot of the times, this can be a common issue of overwatering of grout. You must make sure that when using the water boy system, you bleed the sides and each end of this sponge out several times to get as much water as possible, because even though it looks dry, it's full of water. If you're not too confident with that, I would recommend using a Slater's type free sponge, because as you can see, with a bit of muscle, it's quite easy to wring that excess water out. So when removing the haze with this sponge, you're pretty much only going to get one go with it. You can't continuously wipe the sponge over and over the tile. All you're doing is just adding more and more water to the grout, weakening the mix. The tiles won't take up any water, but the grout will, and this is where you're going to have the common issues of patchy and discoloured grout. So I would recommend moving the sponge across in a diagonal, once again using the edge to remove any overlap from the tile. You will be left with some haze, so rather than using a sponge, I like to use microfiber type cloth, just a damp cloth, even a piece of towel. This will hold minimal water and once again reduce the risk of overwatering. I would recommend to wait until you can see the haze slightly drying up. Don't wait too long, but slightly drying up. You will get less smear. Anything that remains can be taken off with a dry cloth. But as you can see by using this, I have very minimal amount of water. I'll show you actually using the sponge system again. If you continue running the sponge over it to remove all the excess, you can see the amount of water that's now sitting on those tiles. As I said earlier, that water is not going to be absorbed by the tile, only absorbed through the grout. We're just going to recap some of the things I spoke about earlier. 1, stick to 250 ml of water per kilogram of powder. Do not exceed 280 ml max. Do not remix the product, work in smaller batches. Too much water in cleanup. Tiles like these, ceramic tiles with a glaze, you can even let them sit for a little bit and just rub the dry haze off. Grouting should be a simple process. It should be very easy to get right. If you've got any other thoughts, comments or think of something that I missed, let us know. Put it in the comment section. It'd be great to hear from you.